Oh, hey, there's some girth.
Yeah, it goes.
Not used to hearing that, do you?
Oh, hey.
Hi, and welcome to another breathtaking episode of the Lucky Rock Wine Lounge. I'm Jesse Inman.
And I'm Aaron, Big Homie Inman.
We have our first ever guest, and Shellen. We couldn't find anybody else, so we asked Shellen to come and join us.
So, Shellen, I hear that you're a little bit of a wine newbie.
Yeah, so fairly new. Only worked in the wine industry for about 9 months now.
And when you're buying wine, do you ever find it intimidating?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely being surrounded by so many different types of wine, more than I ever have before. Once you're in the industry, I feel like you almost have to have even more knowledge in terms of buying wine in the grocery store and being able to.
And if you're talking to people at a tasting room, you don't know what you're talking about. You start kind of, did you make it up, or do you just
Definitely make it up. It's definitely more about storytelling than I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you could start a YouTube channel where you pretend to know a lot about wine and then build your credibility.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
All right, it's that time, folks. Do all the things, comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah, even Shellen did it.
So generally, consumers use price as an indicator of quality. And so we're going to remove that today when we taste 2 white wines and 2 red wines. One of them is going to be around $17, and the other one's going to be double that price. So I think that's $69.
Yes, and then we'll have Shellen taste the wines, decide which one she likes better and why, and then we'll come in with our expert opinions and see if we agree from an expert point of view.
What do you think about that, Shellen?
I'm excited to drink.
I think now we commence trying the wines.
Yeah, so we are going to start with the white wines. This is Chardonnay, so we're not going to throw any curveballs with some crazy Gewürztraminer.
And then we'll do a Cabernet Sauvignon. Those are hover in the top 2 or 3 varieties every year, so it's going to be
popular.
Yeah, mostest popularist.
Yeah. So we'll get into this. We've got wine 1 and wine 2.
So they're marked on your glass: wine 1, wine 2.
Mm-hmm. See the color difference.
What do you think?
What
do you think and why?
I was going to say, which wine do you like better?
Well, for my palate specifically, I like the easier, lighter-bodied Chardonnays. That, to me, number 1, seemed just a little bit better in terms of, I don't know, kind of being...
Up your alley.
Yeah, up my alley, fairly approachable, but number 2, definitely a little bit more like that medium straw color, so I feel like this definitely saw a little bit more oak. It's definitely a little bit more rich and full, but I think that, truthfully, this is probably the nicer Chardonnay. I feel like this is
When you say nicer, do you mean more expensive?
I do think more expensive. This seems to be a little bit more cheaply made.
Because it has less wood on it?
It has less wood. It doesn't seem as complex. It seems just lighter in general. And then whereas this one definitely has more of a full flavor profile and a really nice nose to it.
So just to summarize that, we've got wine number 1, Shellen thinks is her favorite from a flavor in her mouth standpoint. And number 2 is the more expensive, though. So if you add that all up, she's a cheap date.
Yeah, my favorite.
Absolutely.
All right, so what do you think, Jesse?
I agree with her. I mean, this one has a couple holes in it, but it's nice, light, and refreshing. The other one has a couple holes in it too, but it just tastes more expensive.
Yeah, it's funny to me because
oaky, buttery.
I just wonder if this one's a little more Frankenstein's number 2. It seems like a wine that maybe was made in the lab a little bit.
Yeah. Chardonnay is probably, I would say, universally the most manipulated of all varieties through malolactic fermentation.
Sure.
Adding the buttery flavor.
Yeah.
Taking the lactic acid out, or malic acid out, and then on top of it the wood, and a lot of wood to boot.
Sure. I actually prefer wine one as well. I actually think it's maybe the more expensive because it's a little more integrated and a little more subtle. Whereas this one is a little bit more in your face, and some of the
They're trying too
attributes,
hard?
it seems like it's trying a little too hard, and that sometimes comes off cheaply.
Yeah, I just think that that's kind of hard to do in a $17-ish bottle of wine.
I don't disagree.
So that's me. The only thing, just knowing that psychologically, what the price point is.
Yeah.
That's making me think that that's the more expensive because it is hard to do at that price
Yeah.
point.
And I would say these are not, either of them are like bad wines.
No,
No,
they're both
No, if
delicious.
this isn't the number one, is indeed the $17 bottle of wine. I think it's
It's pretty tasty, and I would gladly buy that and drink it.
So after the big reveal, the Heinz Cellars $33, and the Foxglove 17. So wine number one, wine number two.
At the end of the day, this is in Napa Valley, expensive land. It's made a little more finesse. It tastes like maybe it didn't go through ML, so it's a little bit brighter there too. Whereas this is a little more classic, a little more Burgundian in style. And then the Foxglove is going, hey, I like California Chardonnays, I like oak, I like a lot of perfumey like notes.
That proves the point that things can be made more mainstream, popular style.
Sure.
And versus sometimes a little bit less intervention and letting quality shine through with the grapes and whatnot.
All right, so that was kind of fun. What do you feel like? Do you feel like you learned anything there, or?
Oh, absolutely. But I definitely like to learn a little bit more about how, like, the misconception of Chardonnay, especially California Chardonnay, being big and oaky and whatnot and expensive and everything. But in fact, some of, again, the lighter, brighter, more like, again, like New World Chardonnays are definitely taking over and can also replicate an expensive tasting Chardonnay.
Well, it's funny because some of the New World producers are doing it, but they're really harkening back to the Old World producers with
Right.
those less in-your-face style.
As I'm thinking
Right.
about it more, the Heinz, if you were to make that style of wine with lower quality grapes, it's going to taste a lot.
Be challenging.
It is, because you're not able to hide as many flaws with the oak and the butter and things like that. So now that I'm realizing this is the more expensive of the two, it's like if they try to do that with the Foxglove, I don't think it'd be nearly as good of a wine.
All right, now let's jump into some Cabernet Sauvignon. We have two Cabernets. One of them's around $17. One of them's around $40. Wine one, wine two. They're blind. We don't know what they are. And let's get into it.
Commence.
All right.
Commence sniffing.
You know what's funny right off the bat is the color of them. I can see them on the table, and I think just on color alone, I can tell.
Making so many mental notes right now.
I think I know.
All right.
Okay, hold on.
What's the verdict there, little lady?
I definitely prefer number one. Just seems like a little
What
bit more
don't
of
you
a
like
cab.
about number two?
Number two, it's got kind of a weird flavor profile to me. It's just kind of tastes like it's got an interesting amount of like acid to it. Just like kind of flavors that like I didn't really expect per se.
Yeah.
But I could be absolutely wrong. you know.
Wrong.
In
Well, it doesn't-
terms of-
it's really whatever you like. There's no wrong
Yeah.
or right.
And then the second question is, which one do you think is more expensive?
I would say number one. I'm gonna go with my gut. Number one would be more expensive. It just like seems like it's more velvety. It's got a nice finish to it. What do you guys think?
I think the complete opposite, actually.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's only come with time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Can't
because
be as
what-
old as
what-
you.
Like what Aaron and I will notice is like number two, it's more rich and full, and it's got whereas the number one has kind of prickly tannins. The tannins in number two are softer, and so that with Cabernet is really hard to do without barrel age.
Okay.
And not just barrel age, but lots of barrel age. Versus the other one probably was in tank with some staves or something.
An appropriate amount of extraction.
Yeah,
You
but
gotta be careful with tannin.
that said, I think for the price point, they did a pretty good job. As long as you liked number one, then that's a great deal for you
Well, and
because it's half the price.
yeah, my wallet will be a lot happier with that. I'm happy to drink the cheaper cab.
We'll send you home with that.
Do you like how
Yeah.
we're already acting? Do you like how we're acting like we already picked it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was just like, they haven't
Yeah.
even told us yet.
Yeah,
I
it comes
hope that you're wrong.
It comes out
I'm
and we
like,
just get
in my
just
mind.
poo
Yeah.
all over our
We're like,
faces.
look, actually, let me mansplain that for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we've now revealed it, and Jesse, walk us through it.
Wine numero uno that's number 1 in Spanish. Sean Minor, and this is North Coast. So, and then wine number 2 is also Napa, Rutherford, which is a sub-appellation in Napa. This one's $17. This one, we got it for like 42, but I think it's like 50 some odd. It's funny because this one's got a pretty heavy bottle.
Yeah.
If you were to pick it up off the shelf, you might say, ooh.
Oh, hey, there's some girth.
Yeah, it goes.
Not used to hearing that, do you?
Oh, hey!
Sick bird.
All right, and the episode is over. Goodbye. I think that was really interesting that you, on both of those, the first one you liked the expensive one the most,
But pick the second one is the more expensive.
but picked the second one as more expensive, and on this one you liked the less expensive and thought it was the more expensive, which is interesting.
Well, my higher end was always only like the $12 cap
Yeah.
anyway, so like a $17 is like, the less expensive cap to me, and I liked it.
And you were saying off camera, you're like, I almost wish it was Pinot, because you know Pinot better, right?
Yes, I do know Pinot a bit better. Like, to me, the first one was like a Pinot lover's cap because, again, it was nice and subtle
Yeah.
and a little bit like
It's
on
bright.
the lighter side.
I would say Cab is an incredibly hard wine to make really well at a low price point because it's, that's why King Cab. It's expensive because you can get some really cabs in a lot of different places, but Napa Valley, because of the scarcity, it grows Cab really well. High price.
So that was fun. We appreciate you being here today on the Lucky Rock Wine Lounge.
It was a pleasure, you guys. Just
Our
the
inaugural
best.
guest.
Yeah.
You were our first guest.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Was I?
I'll always remember my first time. Cheers.
Cheers, you guys. Thank you so much
Cheers.
for having me.
So
Thanks
much,
for
and
coming.
we'll see you on the next episode.